welcome to this session 4 of the discovery item tutorial. So in this session we will be looking what is the discovery behavior and what kind of definitions does discovery behavior contains, and what is pre and post patterns, and we'll also be looking what is a pattern designer and how we can debug a pattern. So without wasting time, let's quickly dive into the topic. So uh, so where we have stopped at the discovery schedule last time. So if you could see discovery schedule, yeah, in the discovery schedule, I'll just open the discovery schedule which I have created yesterday in the last session. So in this session, we'll be looking. I'll be telling you in if you come to the discovery schedule, if you come to mid-service selection method, you have a option called as use behavior. So we'll be looking deep into this, how will it work and everything. So in this behavior, so first of all, what is discovery behavior? So a discovery behavior determines what probe Shazam launches and from which mid services probes are launched. Using discovery behavior, we can determine what probes we can use for discovering. Example, we can say, so we need to send Shazam probes of only WMI probes. Okay, so to discover. So we will use discovery behavior where we can configure which particular probe we want to send. In this case, we will be only sending WMI probe. So I'll quickly create a new new discovery behavior for testing. So I've already created, I'll just show you. So if I open that record, I just need to give the name. And if after giving you the name, there will be a discovery functionality. Inside the discovery functionality, you just need to define what functionality you want to achieve through this discovery behavior. So for example, I told you a use case where I only wanted to send WMI probe. So let's change the use case and let's see whether it works or not. So I only want to. These are all by default. They're all out of box functionality definitions. You can also define your own. So for the use case, I'm just using only WMI only, and I you just need to select your mid server. So once you define your discovery functionality, you just need to save it. So after saving it, you can see whether your discovery functionality has been recorded or updated. So it has only be updated to on WMA only. So our requirement is also that. So now if I quickly show you the test case, I'll just run my mid server, and the mid server has been successfully run. And if I'll try to open the mid server, and if I go to the ECC queue, this one, discovery log, let me check it once again. Sorry. So here you can see all port probes are getting triggered. So that means here I have changed my behavior, but I haven't saved it. So you need to save it, guys, before proceeding. So let's just close it. Now it has been saved, and whenever our use case, whenever we discover now, we should only get only one probe, that is WMI. So let's see whether it's working or not. So discovery has been successful. Yeah, you can see in the ECC queue. So our Shazam probe, that is output as WMI probe. So this is the basic use case of uh, discovery behavior. So you might have a question like, for example, can we run if you have two different mid servers? So can you run through using a single discovery schedule? Of course, yes, because inside the discovery behavior, if you see, there is an option to create multiple discovery functionalities. For example, you have a different mid server, and you wanted to have a new functionality also. There you can also create multiple n number of mid servers, and you can use in the same discovery schedule. So as we have seen what is discovery schedule, so in the previous session, and one more point I wanted to note you is Shazam batch size. The last session I told you it has a limit of minimum 256 should be there. That is because below that the clustering will not happen. Clustering means nothing but which will get the data and which will send it. So that will not happen if the value is of below 256. And coming to the next part, so in discovery behavior, we need to define our mid server, and uh, we need to define the functionality definitions. You just need to select the port probe. So once we discover this schedule has been run, it will use selected discovery behavior has only one phase, and with this the mid server with functionality, the port probes will fire in the particular order. So yeah. So after this, we'll be looking into what is pre and post patterns, what are those and everything. Before patterns, there is so before like we have seen in the ECCQ, there'll be a lot of patterns and everything, right? So before patterns, there is something concept called as pre-processing and post-processing processes which happen. We can define, we can actually see them in a table called uh, pre-pattern pre-post processing as a pattern pre-post. Yeah, in this you can actually see there are various types of executions. For example, like if I show you, there is pre-sensor, post-sensor, pre-execution, and on-pattern failure. There are different things. So whatever payload came or went through the pattern, that can be manipulated using this particular. So these are all by default, but if there is any requirement to change any kind of requirement or functionality, you can actually come into this particular pre or post patterns table, and you can actually modify the script according to your requirement. So that is one point which you need to know. And one more point which you need to consider, that pattern should not be modified just like that. Until and unless you got a requirement, you should not modify anything, because every patterns will be updated each and every month. It's not like a service now for 6 months release. The patterns are will be updated very constantly, like every for each and every update, each and every minor update, you will get a new pattern, and you can actually download the latest patterns from the store, and you can actually install them in your instance. And yeah, pattern is a sequence of steps, so every step has a defined executions. So now I'll be showing you the pattern designer. So let me go to pattern designer, discovery patterns. So ranges pattern, you can see this. So this is a particular pattern. So for this, nebula is used inside a pattern. You have uh, so yeah, inside a pattern you have identification section. That means this particular, not only this, most of the particular patterns follows a step of. I told you in the previous point, every pattern is like a sequence of steps. So every step has a defined executions, right? So just like that, identification section which is inside this pattern runs first. Uske baad it will be like multiple different functionalities. You can go through this as patterns and everything. There are different types of steps. For example, operation type of step, just like so if you can, I'll quickly show you operation. So basically, this particular pattern designer will make a payload, and it will just make a payload, and there is a IRE engine called. It will push the payload further. So how to debug this particular pattern? So debugging these patterns, we have different ways to debug these patterns. So I'll be telling you what are the different ways. So first thing is you can go through horizontal discovery log, and the second thing is you can go to debug mode on the pattern designer. Let me show you. So we are here into pattern designer. So in pattern designer, you have various different patterns which are in the particular steps. You can go through the documentation. So in this, you have an field called operation. So that is nothing but type of step, just like in the business rule in ServiceNow. We just define, for example, setting the VIP caller is true. We set parameter, then we just set the parameter, right? It's just like that. You just set the, you just, even this runs the script at the background, you just set it here. And there are multiple steps defined. These steps are operations, and using these operations, we define what should happen. Basically, I've already told you the pattern designer makes a set of payload, and further IRE engine pushes a payload to the required systems and everything. So I told you there are various methods to debug the pattern. So one is through, there is an option at the top top of the header that is called as debug mode. If you click on the debug mode, you just need to give the host name, and you just need to give the pre-execution input from execution or manual entry. And if you click on connect, the pattern will start debugging. And there is one more thing called horizontal discovery logs, where you can go to the logs and check whether this pattern has run correctly or not. For this session, that's it, guys. So we'll be catching up very soon. Thank you.